RRQ.
Wow. I don't know if we've ever really seen this. I mean, even though RRQ did win that one best of 3, I don't know if it's ever felt like RRQ was entirely on top. It always felt like a grind and a struggle. Obviously, the map's not done yet, but the prep coming in from RRQ, the way they understand Fracture, the confidence that we are going to understand this map better than Gen G. What a good map pick so far in the first half.
Yeah, a map that Gen G hasn't really shown much of or even played much of in the previous year, which was, you know, arguably one of their stronger years. And it's just really showing how much RRQ really has in store for this entire thing. Estrella with the breach setups, the fault line setups, Cushy with his performance so far. But now down to it all. I mean, Monyet's starting to pick up on it as well with some crazy antics.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just the confidence, the movement, the fact that you have a Neon who can move like that. Oh, look who it is.
Oh!
All right. Calling some of his friends little piggies. Our own little Korean Busio. No, but I mean, we'll see. It's the T1 members trying to scout out some of the opposition on the other side of the bracket right now. And Meteor watching his old team, seeing if they can recreate some of the same magic. Now, coming into Kickoff, Munchkin did say on his own little Q&A session, AMA session, that, you know, it's always tough against RRQ, but we always win. We're going to be able to win again. You know, just exuding that confidence, saying that we were going to be, you know, prepared and ready to go. But so far, maybe they just didn't see the fracture. Maybe they just weren't quite sure what kind of power Cushy brought to this team. 15-4 with 4 assists.
So far, could this be a different story for the first time in a while? Starting things out now, Gen G on the defense. They're slowly pushing outside.
Destroyed.
Oh, he's waiting for them to check for ropes. Goes out, doesn't get the kill, but now you have to start moving. Xfero is trapped. Fault line gonna keep them at bay. It's a nice trade. Monyet still able to push through with the frenzy. He's trying to draw the crossers away, just barely skirts out. Xfero eventually falls, and that does open things up for a retake.
Straight up for B main, but yes, bit of an opportunity for Gen G outside of Arcade, but needing to work alongside, yes, the spikes, and with that wraparound through, Yeoman with the recon.
And we'll see if Monyet gets sight. Where does Estrella go? Does he push through? It's a relay vote to try to buy time. He's stuck now, but Cushy already good for 1 kill. They're buying time for Estrella. It's all for Estrella. They have no idea. He comes in from behind. He misses so many shots, and he absolutely blunders that wraparound.
Now it's down to Cushy. He's got the recon. Shock dart sent through already, and the spike continuing to tick away. Unfortunately, though, the recon doesn't find anything, so has to push through the smoke. And Karen's just sticking it all the way through. Yeoman gets the shot at the end of it, and Gen G gets to stay alive.
The lack of confidence. When you have something like the Frenzy, when you have something like the Stinger, you just gotta spray him down. You gotta move and spray him down. Trying to just go for that headshot. Unfortunate for Estrella. The full setup from his teammates. That one hurts because this could have been a quick wrap-up to the very first map.
Still, though, having that many rounds, you gotta imagine they have to just shrug it off. But it could be a bit of an opportunity for Gen G now. Look at the buy-ups. Everyone on an upgrade.
And like you said, lots of rounds. RRQ not gonna go for any type of force. They're just gonna wait with the classics, build up for one big round, try to get to that map point. It is a stack, and now just wrapping around sewers on the B side for Xfero, but look at this. It's not just A main, it's the entire spawn taken over by Gen G. The turret setup is gonna let you know that he's waiting for someone to push out of B main. He has no idea how close people are. They're just gonna have an angle.
So if Xfero receives contact, I mean, if you're RRQ, you just surely send it into the side. That's exactly what they're doing right now, but do they have it enough time though? Foxy9 still kind of lurking up around the sides, up around Canteen. And that said, as soon as they sneak on through, the paint shells, everything, Munchkin able to fire back. Down to Jemkin inside of the smoke, and Foxy9 spots him out.
RQ would have loved to do some more damage, and it looked like that's what they wanted, just holding by the spawn, seeing where else other members are. They just weren't quite sure how many people exactly were wrapping around, so they had to just get whatever picks they can. It's only going to be one, not the damage they would have hoped for. Meanwhile, Gen G starting to see that they still have that window of opportunity. This team, this core, they never gave up last year, and they could be a scary force if RQ is not able to close things out, you know, anytime soon.
Possibly. But here it is, a chance for RQ to slap it down to 12. Full buy round.
Deploying drone.
Big drone spots out the neon. So you gotta assume there might be some setup there. Even with the relay boat, the neon usually gonna rely on some sort of setup to occupy that space. So it draws a lot of attention towards A main. Meanwhile, Xfero's still waiting with the same setup, trying to bait them into checking ropes over by Arcade. It's gonna be that B hit. Everybody committed to this. They expect that they've bought enough time on A main, and they would be correct for now. But Gen G, when do they get a sniff of this? Well, that's gonna be the signal.
And as soon as that shock dart goes off, Monyet now trying to sneak on into the site, but against Karen, Jemkin actually takes the duel. Now off to Foxy9, and he's maybe looking for the timing, but knows that the site is too hot, so holds for that save instead and waits for his teammates to get on through for spawn. Xfero hears the footsteps though, and now has an opportunity to hold the angle, takes down Texture, and that might have just thwarted the entire retake. The fault line though for Munchkin will work out so far.
Yeah, but there's another one holding another angle. Monyet, okay, Yoman's gonna wrap around. It's a good double peek. Another drone. You need a couple more kills ever since those ping nerfs. And now time already ticking down. There's the molly. It looks impossible for Gen G. Looks like they'll have to give it up. Fault line at the ready here. And yeah, that's gonna be no time for Gen G on the defuse. Yoman draws him in, but that's time gone, and Jemkin will just go for the kill, get that extra orb.
Match point.
Nice little kill as everything lined up, but yes, I mean, still is that round for RRQ, and Cushy with his performance so far now has the Hunter's Fury next.
And I mean, this time the stun definitely wasn't cosmetic. Munchkin very calm on that one. I love the assist from Yoman as well, but alas, it's just too much. I mean, this has always been the case with Fracture, right? You have that Brim on the other side, the molly comes through, it's so much time bought, even with the ping nerfs through the smoke. And now a different look. Back to pinching onto A. 4-man stack onto Dish. Fault line at the ready. Texture, he gets spotted, but instantly traded. No fault line needed.
So they get to save that up and continue barrel on through to the site.
Oh, bit of a miss there. But Cushy, his job just to try to draw some of that aggro. Allow the main force to get in. It's a good wraparound. Monyet can't get that kill. Sand's still in control for Gen G. They push through. It's a double team onto A main. And now numbers advantage for Gen G.
Starting to feel a little bit claustrophobic for RRQ as they're stuck into it.
Oh no!
Pushes out of the smoke. They found Foxy9, and this is a quick transition over onto the B site.
They're gonna get orbital strike as well. No molly, but it's gonna be a good post plant, and Estrella's still waiting. Does Munchkin get a read onto this? He has an inkling, so he's gonna wrap around. Meanwhile, Yoman already sprinted forward. He gets the kill. Nor orbital strike ready. Estrella, no ult. He does have that fault line. He does have the aftershock, but if he fault lines, this location will be given. He wants to swing out and isolate. Oh, he catches off Munchkin. Must have heard him on the cross. There's the aftershock to push him away. And Yoman wins it, keeping Gen G in the game for our very first map.
Reading the aftershock, still stuck inside of the animation to swap back to the weapon. That's when Yoman swings out for the kill. I mean, good effort from Estrella, but still, Yoman now really starting to show why he was added to this Gen G roster.
Slowly waking up, but how many more chances do they have? See Texture trying to get back in the zone. Things not quite going his way on Gen G. Meanwhile, RRQ, still 8 more chances. They won't rush for anything. They have a couple, I mean, they could build up all their ults, right? Obviously, Gen G will get their ults as well, but go for something special prepared. For now, it's going to be a fast push out from Gen G. On to B main, constantly erasing one part of the map. Xfero just holding by, might get a timing on the re-clear.
Now looking for it at least, while the rest of the team pulls the aggro back into them, out towards the top of halls.
The position's not great for Gen G. You're allowing them to close the gap a bit, but Texture still holding just below the stairs to make sure he has that distance advantage. Monyet gets one, but he instantly gets picked off. That's the spike stranded. And Xfero just on the other side of the map. See if he can get a pick or two. Oh, Foxy9's ready for it. He hasn't really been able to group with his team much this map, but the kills have been racking up on the scoreboard for the new Sentinel of Gen G.
That's still is RRQ slowly starting to cycle back up through Ultimates Online for the next round.
Yeah, but the real question is can they make sure that they get ahead of Gen G or past Gen G's ultimate turn? Because Gen G, I mean, they're no strangers to long games. They might just be able to constantly get the read. Munchkin's very good at that. And match ult for ult. Gonna be that cross recon. But this time onto Sands, immediately taking control. The smoke, Monyet, he gets through it. He spots one, the judge out. But it's just too much chaos. They're able to just branch out, but Foxy9 already gets rid of the Neon. Meanwhile, Jemkin through, but Karon never quite cleaned up. Now he's stuck with Spike stranded, and it's just absolute chaos as it continues. There's the showstopper. Cushy trades again, 2v3. They're circling around. Gen G trapped on their own site, trying to protect the site. They have no idea. Xfero's lurk. It's coming from the other side, and he turns around, gets one kill. 1v2. Xfero, good for one. He's ready, but Karon swings out in time for the headshot.
Just having the numbers again. I mean, full-on chaos and pandemonium, but it still is Gen G being able to react calmly, collectively enough to thwart the efforts of RRQ.
Yeah, I mean, this really could have gone either way, but I think the big thing was Karon just holding true, trusting for Foxy9 to get a bit more information, to get that first kill, and then he's able to swing out and slow things down, and that's the spike dropped. And now they know, Xfero, 2 rounds in a row, 1 eco, 1 buy round, flanking from the other side of the map. That's something that Gen G will be looking out for.
Xfero with his lurks. Constant presence all throughout the map, but at the same time, at least in that round, RQ was able to flesh out or draw out a lot of those ultimates from the side of Gen G as well. So now at a score of 6-12, the timeout being called to try to look for an opportunity to close.
Now, RQ has tried all the different lanes of attack. The only main one that we haven't seen is perhaps, you know, a 4 or 5 man snack onto B main, but that's always tricky, especially with a lot of the default Killjoy setups. See if that is the last choice, because if it is, I have to imagine that Gen G will have a decent read on it. With the lockdown available, that looks like it's what it's going to be. RQ just hasn't really taken that choice yet. It's a 5-man stack. Do they go for the lockdown first, or will it be used against the retake?
Is the question right now. Starting things off with a little bit of pacing. RQ already branching out.
Oh, the wraparound under sewers. Gen G's ahead of it. Texture, he's ahead of it. He swings wide, but he gets taken out.
Uh-oh.
It's a 5v4. Alarmbot at the ready. RQ holding to see if there's any other information.
Not going for the lockdown just yet.
Now, Karon does have the orbital strike. That bought them time to get that ult orb. So this lockdown will be eliminated instantly, and RQ getting a sniff of that.
Well, Xfero continues to hold. If someone does peek out, he's 1 kill away from the Rolling Thunder. Gen G still keeping themselves defensive, continuing to hold. I mean, Karen's positioning outside of Arcade as well.
If they're going to go to A side, I wonder if RRQ uses the orbital strike to clear the site, because you have 0 information. You're trying to draw a lot of attention onto B. Monyet just gonna be the bait. He gets 1 kill. He's still alive. Chaos ensues once more. He gets a double kill. All eyes on the B side. Foxy9 panicking on the A side. What does he do? What's the call? We still do not know where the spike is. But no more movement on B. Foxy9, he's ready for it. He needs to get multiple. He's stunned up. Can he do it? He tries to anti-flash. He only gets 1. Lockdown now opening up the site. Orbital strike will break it, but the spike still going to plant safely in the corner.
Hops on over onto Heaven to try to look and clear. Slowly isolating the angles, but the Rolling Thunder at the right angle, and Monyet swings out just as it's about to collide. RRQ will close out the first map.
13-6, given an 11-1/2. I mean, Gen G put up a hell of a fight, but it was just a little bit too late. As RRQ, they call the timeout. They go to that 1 lane they haven't attacked yet in the second half, and they'll close things out, trying to lead 1-0 in this best of 3.
So good so far. I mean, yes, Gen G still being able to fight, right? But RRQ have been looking so darn incredible, especially in that first half. I mean, talk about an 11-1, their setups with everything that they've got. And on top of it all, I mean, it wasn't just Monyet being that crazy. it was also Cushy being able to collect on a lot of those kills.
I mean, it was cushy for most of that first half. Monyet, again, the movement, we're seeing how the new Neon's being used. I respect it, but Cushy really having impact kills and just a lot of kills as well throughout this entire map. Once again, I mean, I don't know how many times you have to say this, but proving exactly why he was picked up just time and time again. That was a neat little trick, though, from Monyet. A good clutch up against Foxy9. But the real question now is was it just a matter of Gen G warming up? Gen G trying to get that read against RRQ, because now we have to get prepared for Gen G's pick on Lotus, and we know how comfortable they were on Lotus all throughout 2024.
And this is where RRQ really needs to hunker down and show us what they are truly made of. I mean, that Lotus that Gen G has been so indomitable on.
Well, that's going to be it for map 1. It went a little bit longer than perhaps expected, but RRQ able to celebrate a first map victory. We'll send it over to the analyst desk to break down the action before we return with the map 2, Lotus.
RRQ is definitely vibing right now. Gen G managed to get a couple more rounds in the bag, so they're not entering into map 2 with their tail between their legs. But RRQ looks like they have fixed a lot of things. They've got the core roster there, and they look solid. As Chobra and Quack were saying, the addition of Cushy, he's just slotted so seamlessly into this team right now. It's just that last missing piece to make them move forward.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. This is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Look at this RRQ finally popping. Let's go. Okay, I can't get too ahead of myself. They don't own anything yet, but that's a great opening map. I mean, Gen G started a little slow, like we saw with Talon earlier, but I think you should bow your head in shame and apologize.
No, not yet, not yet. Honestly, like RRQ, we'll give them credit where credit's due. Okay, they've had one rocky map that they should have won, but 3 maps in a, like 3 of the 4 maps they played, they have come so hot out of the gates and absolutely been stomping their opponents, both TFM and even now Gen G. That's a really legit win. What I will say about Gen G though, even in the off season, occasionally they lose some pretty one-sided maps. I remember the Soup League final where they lost some, you know, pretty one-sided stomps. So a little slow to start at times. Fracture is not a map that they played too much just yet. RRQ clearly had the right read. They got the veto figured out and everyone was performing, whereas there was really no one that was stepping up at all from Gen G. That was a very, very slow start. So they're going to need to wake themselves up very, very quickly. They're going to need a big, big talking to from the coaching staff, because Lotus should be good for them, honestly. Like looking at the map stats, looking at the fact that they absolutely stomp Talent, because they have that stomp potential. You see that in the off season as well.
That's the hopium in you. In Pilski, hoping.
I mean, look, what I will say, Cushy absolutely so for diffing Yeoman that game. Like, the man is the truth. He has had very few bad games so far between the off-season as well as the main league here. This man is really slotting in well. He's fragging very hard on that info initiator role, and both of these teams opting to go for the Sova here. This is Jemkin's 3rd map of Brimstone in his career. He has very rarely played that, so you're seeing RRQ very comfortable with this core of swapping over which agents they're putting certain players on. You've even seen Jemkin thrown on the Sentinel a little bit, and Monyet has that duelist potential as well, but there were so many cool recons from both teams, taking arcade control, the tree takes, and things like that. That is the difference of, we were kind of predicting the Teo being quite a popular pick at the moment, but the Sova is not really the main initiator you think of when you think of Fracture, yet both of these teams, as their info initiator players, have a lot of comfort on the Sova. Both picked the Sova and both had some cool stuff to show. Unfortunately, Cushy a little bit better. You know, he's fragging people and winning with the Sova ult here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what the Sova brings. I think the ult is very powerful, and you have a lot of long-range support tools, which is really nice. But as you mentioned, even before the veto, both of these initiator players are very comfortable on this Sova, and I think this is a map where we can see it work. It's become slowly more and more popular. I do think Teo has been taking over, but it's nice to see teams go back to this, especially when it suits them the most, I think. You don't have to shoehorn something in if it's not right for your team.
Yeah, I mean, Monyet and Texture, you know, we saw a little bit of banter from them in the pre-stage as well with the walkouts. They were definitely quite happy to be taking duels with each other, and I'm sure Monyet's quite happy to be on the duelist up against Texture, especially when very little is going wrong for his team there.
Exactly. Monyet's still doing Monyet things, though, sliding into death, and of course only Texture can, nail down sliding neons there. But it's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm expecting to see the same exact duelist matchup going into Lotus.
Okay.
As we know that RRQ likes to play, they switched Monyet onto the Neon, who's originally on the Omen, and they found a lot of success with that. Gen G, on the other hand, Texture's always been on the Raze, and we were talking about last year's performance. They kept the same comp. They had the Fade Initiator in there, and it's provided a lot of success, but this was with a different squad, without Meteor there, missing 2 of the same players from last year. Is this going to be the same result? Is RRQ finally going to close this out? Are we going to get our first 2-0 of Kickoff? What's really also interesting, Gen G did get knocked down to lowers last year during Kickoff, and they kind of needed that run, and that's when they really evolved and went to Super Saiyan mode. So maybe this could be the case for Gen G. All I know is that RRQ does not want to lose to Gen G again.
Yeah, as the caster said earlier as well, Lotus has been a very good map for Gen G historically. Yeah. There's a reason why they will have picked it coming into this. I think they should be able to reset. Like we saw Talon start slow in map 1 earlier. I do think that there's that little element of coming in cold.
GE as well versus Secret, same story.
I think it's very much, it is a very real phenomenon. So turning that round to map 2, we've seen teams be able to do it, but can Gen G bring that here? I think this is a real comfort pick for them. So I'm excited to see if they've changed their composition or not. And I guess we have to go from there because they can't get upset like they did in that first half. RRQ just steamrolled them, and the last thing you can do if you're down that first map is lose momentum.
And even as an RRQ supporter, you have to say at times they have a tough time closing out games, closing out series. That's Absolutely. A very nice start to the series, but the job's not done yet.
That's very true. And one thing Gen G is very good at is not losing their heads when they lose a map. We've seen them come back and pick it back up, especially, and it's with, vibes merchants like Texture on your team, keeping things steady. They still have Karen. I believe in them to be able to recuperate themselves. Their mental is not so weak, and this is why they're so successful last year.
Yeah, and like we said, this map pick is huge for them. It's going to be their ultimate comfort zone that they can, feel their way out. We saw them be so comfortable with that meta comp that a lot of teams really copied and evolved into their own style. So I agree with you. I want to see if they bring that same meta comp and approach. As for the side of the boys on RRQ, this is a map that hasn't really gone the way they would have wanted in the off-season. I think Talon is a team that if you use them as a measuring stick, like I said in the pre-show a little bit, and the fact that RRQ is playing Talon close on that map, then you can kind of question what their strength is going to be on the map. At the same time, though, it really feels like the coaching staff of RRQ and all of the players with all of the history in this matchup, they have very clearly got themselves pumped up. Like in the huddle, I could hear the yell from them down on the stage down there, and they were clearly very fired up to try to win this matchup. You can tell they really want this dub.
Yeah, I mean, you know what they say, it's not always about the expertise, it's really about who's hungrier for it. And
Absolutely.
know RRQ wants it so bad. They wanted it so bad last year. They wanted it so bad the year before, as well during LCQ. But this is it. They're obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if Ewok spent all of offseason just making sure they could beat Gen G. Like, that was his whole plan the entire time.
On the flip side of things, like contrasting that, is last year going to be the year that Gen G looks back on as their best year ever? Or are they actually going to be able to step up to that standard again?
Yeah.
I think staying consistent in Valorant is very difficult as well. As the patches change, as different agents come and go.
As they throw like tidal waves and missiles into the game and whatever else the next thing is,
it's incredibly
getting closer and closer to a MOBA at this point,
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that. That's awful. No, this is still a nice tech FPS that we deeply enjoy. Teho and his missiles are kind of fun. Interesting, we didn't see it on Fracture from either one of these teams, but I would have guessed RRQ would have pulled out the hit Teo, but like you guys said, they leaned to what they're good at, and those two particular players, solid as Sova.
I do want to see the Neon come out again. Monyet looked very, very natural on that Neon.
Yeah, he looked great.
I expect it, yeah.
Honestly, it's an agent that's so well suited to him. He loves just like running around. He just has so much fun when he plays. Like the double slot, like it's built for him.
Yeah,
it's
the
built
movement,
for him,
the movement agents, even the Omen and stuff like that, like the shrouded step TP plays and things that he does. Any agent with movement with Monyet is like beautiful to watch.
I remember being sat there. You'd watch him play. He would play ranked. We'd see him in scrims, and he'd get some cheesy kill with a shotgun or an Odin, and he has the funniest laugh you've ever heard. It's very, very hype. like
it's infectious.
Yeah, it'll live in my head forever. It was a beautiful moment watching him have fun and play the game.
Yeah, in fact, Neon Zeus, Monyet means monkey, and it's just his playstyle is very playful, and he definitely likes to poke at the other team and give them as much trouble as possible. I would, like you guys said, love to see him back on the Neon. Oh, okay, RRQ has swapped it up.
Yeah, so they were playing, I think, Breach Sova before on this map. Now onto the double controller with the Vice as the solo Sentinel. They've got Cushy on the Fade. I haven't really seen him play too much but Sova yet. And for Gen G, that's the stock standard. I mean, that's the comp you back yourself with to win this whole tournament, probably, whoever you're playing Lotus against.
Yeah, these comps are obviously very, very close. The biggest swap is that Vice for the Killjoy out of the default comp. I think Vice is in a very great spot, so I'm excited to see how RRQ use it.
These two teams just played a mirror against each other, and we saw how that went, so we'll see.
Well, I hope you're ready to kiss Jemkin again on today's broadcast, because he's on the race. We're going to go to our casters room map to Lotus. Chopra and Quack, please take it away.
Thank you very much. Map 2, RQ leading 1-0, but this composition, this map, this is where Gen G was always turning things around in 2024. Pretty much the whole time in Pacific, but even quite a few times internationally as well.
Yeah, so strong. I mean, same comp, right, but slightly different players, and this is why we're all waiting for it. I mean, truly, Jemkin back on that race against Texture.
See what Jemkin can do, taking things a little bit on the second line there on that first map, as at Brimstone. Now he has to be that spearhead for RRQ. Monyet back on to that Omen. He can still be a little bit of a trickster, but it's going to be a straight-on fight, and Jumkin and Cushy both win the 2v2 over by A main. That's going to be the Razorvines pop just to buy time over by B.
Just being able to hold the angle, but yeah, there it is. Slows it down a little bit. Texture can't quite break through, so continues to try to land a couple of pot shots, but nothing found truly. While the rest of the team, or well, I should say that the last two players try to re-clear rubble again.
And I love that RQ is just waiting on B, because if they're going to rotate onto A, we just fall back, we go for the retake. But did they leave anyone else? Is there any movement on B? Now Texture just trying to buy time. He's tasked with the impossible of buying attention, but also ideally getting 1 or 2 frags. And eventually, they'll push them off of A site as well, now trying to regroup.
Oh, and Flash comes out as well. Oh boy, Texture trying to hide back behind pillars alongside Yeoman.
Oh, they back off? Yeah, they notice that it's more than Texture. They say, okay, well, they've regrouped. That's fine. We can regroup as well. Making sure to keep that numbers advantage. A very new and refreshing look from RRQ.
Refreshing. I mean, it's what they've got, so trying to work alongside that advantage, right? Jemkin not really extending too far out. Well, the rest of the team, the trio, truly staying up by Baby Door. Spike will go down on the site at the very least, though, but this is where you want to see that retake happen. Jemkin does have the paint shells, so he's kind of saving that for the right opportune moment.
Yeah, Estrella is quite far out, though, and now trying to bring up the rear, trying to clean up rubble, but the rest of the team already has it cleared up, so he should try to just sprint up and try to gain information that way. Meanwhile, the entire team of Gen G on the site. It's a double, and it's a nice jump peek. Cushy with the trade, but Charon still holding strong on the site. 2 members left of Gen G, 3 on the other side, but Jemkin and Xfero, they've already taken damage. Jemkin, can he win this duel? Charon's ready for it. Jemkin, there's the paint shells. It's going to force Charon to move, and Xfero will clean up the site.
That was lovely. The paint shells, the way that he threw it, but at the same time, truly, the way that RRQ came in with that first initial point of contact on that retake. Jumping over like that. Yo, Gen G were kind of stunned up by it.
Yeah, you know, some things just never leave you, right? You join Paper X once and then WQ Gaming, the jump peaks out. I mean, it just doesn't ever leave, but this was a huge 2v2. The fact that you take down the Killjoy, even in the pistol, it just forces Gen G to have to move as a group. And then RRQ being patient, not overextending. I mean, yeah, look at what you can get with that.
Wow. So they got to buy up 2 Guardians and 1 Bulldog, 1 Spectre. Monyet on the Ghost. Still is Gen G on those shares, though. Quite deadly.
Yeah, and the idea is still going to be the same. You swapped out the Vice for the Killjoy, but it's really the Sentinel plus Viper delaying so much on C-Site, right? But now you have an extra Flash. That suits RQ a bit more, a team that likes to fight. Curious to see if Gen G, just like Talon, will be able to draw out that sheer wall nice and early to make sure they get those rotations. Uh-oh, spotted by both of those. Good hit onto Cushy. He actually gets the kill, but Jemkin with the cleanup.
Still, though, not too bad with that kill. At the very least, a bit more information for Jemkin, so trying to work around his teammate now, just up around Baby Door, thinking about a potential B push. I don't know if they're using the Yakros just yet, but no intel so far. More thinking about the A site. Jemkin comes back in to reinvestigate. Ooh, spots him.
Yeah, you saw him calling right away on that cam briefly, just making the call that there are members on Rubble. So now the weight shifting over, holding that blue room. You're not going to overinvest. Jemkin's still going to be alone on the site. We'll see if he can hold on to that rifle, because a rifle given over could spell danger for RRQ. Xfero's going to be there for the trade. Jemkin gets one. Xfero immediately peeks out. It's a good double team, and bouncing back and forth, Jemkin gets a 3K.
So good, you know, just being able to work around the map that way, reading Gen G's movements, and if it's back into 8, we do have the positions and the crossfire set up for it, so Jemkin being able to hold from the side, Xfero from the stairs, just being able to gun and spray all of them down.
Now, of course, that was your anti-eco, so meant to win it, not losing out on too much. Cushy, the only one going down there, and Jemkin just holding strong on there, even despite being paranoid. But now we'll see Gen G with the buy.
Still though, this is a chance, possibly for RRQ to fight back and convert that bonus. And Gen G will head back in towards Mound. This time, the buy setup not quite there. Arc Rose might have been broken.
Yeah, looks like Xfero still holding on to it. Not used just yet, because no trap play used over by Mound. It's just the sheer wall. If they try to trip it, you can try to get a cheeky kill. But for now, all right, popping the Razor Vines as a measure to make sure that you can catch whoever is actually over the wall. That is a lot of utility already spent just from the jump peak. But now they have the Arc Rose there on the C site. So really, it comes down to Magnet. How much time can he buy on Rubble? How much information can he get? And more importantly, can he get out alive?
Yeah, you got to think about the possible TP, but there's only one of it now, so it's going to go straight into Baby Door. There it is. Into the smokes, trying to stay alive with the off angle, but he's been spotted out by the Haunt. Paint shells will get sent through as well, but he manages to tuck himself neatly away. However, that does mean that the site is pretty much open. Cushy tries to go into the smoke, but unfortunately spotted out by Texture. Look at how proactive he is.
Huge kill, making sure that there isn't anyone still lurking around for a fast flood onto the A site. Meanwhile, over by the C side, they did hear Foxy9 rotating late, so RRQ now knows that it should be everyone over by the A side. What's the retake going to be with only 4 members? No fade, no info. You just have to trust that the setup is good. There's the flash on to drop. Now going by on both sides, trying to catch out Texture, but he's tucking away. Yeoman has him covered. Everybody covering a different angle, covering all bases from RRQ. It's a double swing on a drop, and they both get sprayed down, lining up for Yeoman. Bit of an unfortunate timing there. The spacing not as good as it could have been. Magnet still going for a third, but there's gonna be no kills. Flawless for Gen G.
So clean, so flawless, and just a beautiful way of how they're kind of working across the map, you know, baiting out that utility from RRQ at the same time, right? Back into C, you deal with that wall, which is something that they are gonna need to do a lot more often. But at the same time, you know, just kind of spotting out Magnet and going so quickly into the site. Texture getting that first kill against Cushy really put quite a bit of hurt against RRQ's numbers.
Now the Odin comes out for Xfero. So the Vice gonna start to set up here by the A side. Toxic Screen still able to delay Razor Vines as well. Boombot spots him. You know the Odin's there, but are you aware that it's gonna be a 2-man stack? There's the sheer wall trying to make sure that it's not a full flood. Estrella gets spotted!
Aww.
Not quite sure that his elbow was showing. There's the showstopper. They know the Odin's still in here. Gen G, well aware that there's at least one more member. Texture, he's weak. If he swings out, this could spell trouble.
Ooh.
But the gun swap the timing! Gets some damage onto Xfero. Now he's trapped, drawing out Util. Avoiding the C's, there's smoke, but it's just too many members. Meanwhile, Jemkin does come in from behind. They're able to clean up at least one hit. But look at the position of Munchkin, hiding in that smoke by stairs, just keeping everyone at bay. Cushy now trapped in drop. Jumkin has to help him. Jumkin has to go through. There's a good paranoia. Gets the kill out of the smoke. There's the paint shells. He's getting caught from both sides. The showstopper shut down by Charon. Cushy, how is he still alive? Magnet finally finds an opening, and he will save his team from another round loss. Now RRQ leading 3-1.
So chaotic and a lot of things happening, but at the same time, RRQ being able to actually work off of a lot of it. You know, it might be that kill that comes through, or just unfortunate for Xfero, who's like trying to swap on over to weapons inside a tree. But as Jemkin pulls out the showstopper, right, pulls so much of the attention away into him, who is just one guy. And that allows for Monyet, alongside Cushy, to kind of find those split angles to work their way back into the site. So RRQ, not too bad. You know, they get faced with adversity, but it's not too bad for them. They're still able to adjust.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering that you spotted Cushy on the drop, but you just didn't have Yuto left to draw him out, because you used it all trying to get Xfero over by tree. Now the sheer wall coming up late. They realize pressure coming to the C side. You'll use it, set it up to go for that delay. Texture just trying to scout things out. Straya not quite in position to get that early kill. Sheerwall still active. Haven't quite cleaned it up. The smoke right outside of it, so they're not even able to just get a cheeky little jump peek.
Sheerwall still online as well. As you go back onto the other side of the map, you got Monyet up on top.
Now Cushy gonna clear that. It's an instant swing. I love the bait and switch, Cushy. I mean, when you have an initiator like that, you can go for these risky plays.
So sharp with how he's able to swing out to get that shot. And then this is now Gen G without the numbers. You know, maybe Foxy9 sneaks through, but no! Jemkin's on the other side and he's ready to receive. As you head on over into C, the off angle's being held. You got Xfero in for additional support.
You gotta save.
Yeah, you gotta save. There's no option.
And one thing that Texture would have noted right there before the smoke bloomed is that the sheer wall a bit away from that gate, so that when the smokes come up, you can't just safely jump peek it. You actually have to go in. So if they're holding from the box, they could still get that kill. If they're holding from the pillar, they could still get that kill. That's something that Gen G will now have to consider when they decide when do we take that sheer wall out to make sure that we're able to get through that C site.
Yeah, so slight adjustments, and that's kind of the impact of it all. You know, Gen G can't quite find their way against that sheer wall, right? And at the same time now, you're thinking back into it. How do you come back into re-clear A when you got this player here?
I mean, Cushy is... he's ridiculous, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's the word to really describe it all.
I really think he's in the running for the most impactful pickup in the offseason. I mean, just because he's really transformed what RRQ is able to do, because they're able to work around him as kind of this carry, but here's a fast hit onto Rubble. Texture not able to get on top. He has to push back. Texture is still spraying through. Picks up the kill against Jemkin. The rest of the members of RRQ, they've already committed, but now they have to back away. Toxic Screen buys him time. Monyet safely tucking away in tree. Not damage taken on anybody else. Meanwhile, Charon quite low with only 11 HP.
Yeah, so maybe a way for RRQ to kind of strike back against Gen G if Charon is down low. But that said, you know, wanting to kind of set up towards Rubble, not quite being able to do that does hurt RRQ quite a bit. So now they're kind of having to keep themselves anchored down into the A site. You know, watch the exits of Baby Door, especially where Xfero is. But this does leave C a little bit open, so you're kind of banking on that sheer wall to do quite a bit as well. But right now, Gen G still biding their time.
Yeah, they'll just hold. Now, I imagine that Foxy9 will have to trip this sheer at some point for it to work, but Yeoman getting spotted in Rubble. That's unfortunate, because you wanted to hide all information before the sheer wall is tripped. It's tripped now, but there's no movement from RRQ. They already saw that the fade was here on the A side, and they're still holding by. Xfero still gets one kill, and there's the crosses. Straya doesn't get both. Thankfully for Gen G, Spike is still alive.
Okay, so Karen's able to kind of deliver that over onto C, while the rest of the team, though, working as a duo, trying to get a hit to cut off those rotations. You still have a 3-on-3, so this is possible. The Prowler goes into clear. Cushy is ready! Look at him! Able to gun down Munchkin, and Foxy9 has to back off. The arc roast to throw off his crosshair placement as well. Look at that peek! So quick, so smooth, so clean! It's down to Karen. He's 11 HP, but still maybe able to make it happen. Cushy with the spray to end Karen's game.
What a great performance for both of these players. Charon, the Rookie of the Year last year, but Cushy gunning for that spot already in 2025. What are these shots coming out from the new initiator for RRQ?
So incredible. Anticipation on top of it all, just to think that, hey, the spike got planned a little bit early. I got to use my Prowler to check and clear spawn.
Yeah, and then still going immediately, because you know you tagged one with the Prowler, so it's still a 1v1. Foxy9 not able to have the confidence to just really swing out. You hear the confidence in his voice as well. And that's a timeout because it wasn't just the shots as well. It was the fact that off of that haunt, Yeoman gets spotted and RQ knows we don't have to worry about that sheer wall being tripped just yet. Let's focus on the members we know about. Let's take them out. And if we don't see them in rubble, then they're going for a cross. Estrella tries to get ahead of it and is able to pick them off, buying a lot of time for the rotates.
Yeah, it's just so smart with how everything's playing out for RRQ right now. But at the same time, just cushy. That's truly been such a big factor for this current matchup, despite Karen's best efforts, or spraying through that smoke in the last moment before it blooms.
Well, so only 10 seconds left now, 10 seconds left now for Gen G. Looks like Solo, a lot to share with them. And I gotta imagine a big part of that has to do with the Vice setup, right? I mean, we talked about it in that first match as well, but the sheer wall is unbreakable. That means you have to trip it at some point, otherwise it's free information. Otherwise it's so easy to shift your weight. You could go for a, like a cheeky 5-man jump over, trigger it all at the same time, but we've seen that, be a little bit of a mistake sometimes. Okay, it's just a fast hit onto Rubble again. They still want to focus on that A side, but it's Jemkin staying still alive right under that one-way, and then once again the trade from Cushy. The timings, the comms, it's also good for RQ, and now once again Foxy9 all alone, wondering where his older brothers have gone.
Nowhere. They disappeared. It's a magic trick from RQ, and they got Avada Kedavra.
I mean, unfortunately.
The spike's down, and I mean, he might be able to kind of pick it up. No. The angles do not work against him. High-low setup as well, so he peeks out, and that's just the headshot. I mean, this is like a potential swing round pickup timeout from Gen G, but RQ gets ahead of it. You saw that paranoia through, and Jemkin, instead of, usually it would be like the Shrouded Step, but Jemkin blast packs in ahead of it, alongside the Haunt as well.
Yeah, the timing and then just the trade ready too. So as long as Jemkin stayed alive, the fight was always going to be RRQ's. And unfortunately,
oh no!
HSK not liking what he saw. Now, something that we noticed in that last round was also the Vice setup was different on C side. It was a lot further behind. And now this time, Vice coming back over to that A side with the Odin. Trying to keep them at bay. Texture gets hit by the Haunt again. No one's clearing that Haunt. Good pick. And this is what Foxy9 likes. Come to me, fight me, because I can 1v3.
1v3 he does, continuing to tap onto the door as well, just being able to push on in towards the B site. Estrella trying to keep them on their toes, but yeah, without the numbers, it's not too likely.
Yeah, given the creds, you imagine maybe some damage trying to be done, but with the Odin, perhaps it's Pharaoh just going to hide out, see if there's any overextensions. Meanwhile, on the side of Gen G, you can't really afford anything lost here. So they're all holding close angles on site, ready to trade off of each other.
So ready. High-low on the boxes, Foxy9 right below. Even with the Odin, I mean, what are you going to do? Really drag your crosshair all over? Not going to happen. Foxy9 looking for that ace. He's already gotten the 4th.
See if he can get it. He only has 450 credits, so he's getting antsy.
Go.
Probably asking for permission. Munchkin, can I go? Can I go get this ace?
Somebody help bait for him.
He's been given the free reign. Oh! Can he go? Shut down. Unfortunate, but Foxy9 proving when he shines, where he shines. He's talked about it time and time again. If they would just fight me, I would love to fight. But when he has to start creating space and work the macro with the team, that's something he's still trying to pick up. Yes. But man, yeah, when it's just like in ranked, it's 1v2, 1v3, he's ready as always.
Such a strong player in that regard. But somewhere on that stage, Texture's mind, he's chuckling away.
Oh yeah.
It happened to you too.
That would have been great if Texture actually just went out and stole it from him. He's like, not anymore. Well, 2 rounds now for Gen G. Still too early to celebrate on this attack on Lotus. Now, I will say, Gen G, they've always done very good on the defense on Lotus, so I don't think they'll be too worried if they can even get up to 6, maybe even 5. But we'll see if they can even get there first.
Needing any advantage possible, truly. All right, not quite able to hide from that boombot in the thin little column, but still back into it. Gen G now retrieves a little bit of information, but not too much on the A side. It's still a lot of space being afforded to Gen G.
Yeah, you have that Seal Garden if you want to use it for the retake, but Lockdown also available for Foxy9. Now, something I think RRQ recognized from that Boombot was the fact that it wasn't shot by anybody else, but it activates late towards pillars. So they're just assuming that it's a lurk, whether it's Foxy9 or not, and keeping their eyes trained on a bit of reach positioning from Gen G on the A side.
It's that reach positioning, though, very key, right? The Prowler just coming in to clear out the top of Heaven, and Gen G is kind of dwindling down that time, playing a lot around these positions. The Lockdown gets deployed alongside the Steel Garden as well, but this is where now the contact starts to happen. A bit of kills, a bit of trades already through, and Jemkin trying to sneak on into the site to take that fight in towards the back of Tree, but it's so far back safe enough that these two players from RQ will get detained. Cushy, though, comes in for that support, takes down Yeoman, but inside a baby door, a bit of a spam, and Karen will find his contact. On towards Monyet, oh, and a quick swing on the conversion into the double kill, pushes even further on into the last minute Viper's Pit, and Munchkin will not survive.
Unfortunate, because what happens is that Monyet gets detained, so he actually can't trade immediately, and I believe that fakes out Gen G to thinking there was only one at Baby Door. He sees the barrel, and he goes for it, but behind that was Monyet detained, unable to do anything, and they just don't expect the second swing out. I mean, it all works. He's laughing because he knows it shouldn't have worked that way, but it does. Sometimes fate is funny, and it favors Monyet today.
Is fate truly setting this up for RQ right now? We shall see as the next round plays out. Paint Shell's already through, Haunt as well. Jemkin kind of thwarted by that Haunt. Now in for it, it's Karen with the double kill. Estrella quickly strikes back outside a tree, but now thinks about Karen, who might just be around the site. Viper's Pit goes up, and Estrella tries to stay in.
All right, he just wants to keep one side open, but with Xfero getting caught. I love that Karen gets ahead of it too, right? They see the pit and you're like, okay, you're trying to buy time. Doesn't look like it should be two of you on the site then. And he's looking for that second one. Estrella now all alone. Credits, of course, flowing for RRQ. But Yeoman, one away from the Nightfall. He's gonna want this kill if he has a chance.
Viper's Pit was pretty good ult as well, but now, just kind of walking through, maybe trying to find something or work around the exits and save.
I mean, I think if you don't find anyone soon, even though your creds are fine, they can still buy up as well. So I don't know if there's really any point in potentially giving away this Nightfall. Yeoman's closing in. Yeah, and Estrella starts to back away. The call has been made to go for that save. Not give away another power ultimate. Because right now, RQ at 7, given how things started, they would like more in this first half.
For sure. So still, pretty darn good round for Gen G, being able to fight for that Rebel control now.
And I love what Karen does here. And the entirety of Gen G, they know that there's always trades ready for that Rumble fight. So they wait for the initial trade, and he just said it right there. See, I told you I'd get the timing, and he's able to jump behind and get the further trade on Cushy, just proving that it was always going to be much more a fight of positions rather than simple reactions.
Hence why now they're looking to kind of repeat those same successes as RQ try something a little bit different. Okay, still is Jemkin alongside Monyet. Gonna work around the Viper walls. Delayed Paranoia though against the Showstopper, and Monyet shuts down Texture. Jemkin's Showstopper will get flooded through, but it doesn't quite connect enough. So Munchkin alongside Foxy9 will be able to swing out off of the explosion. And all that's left is Monyet alongside Xfero.
Yeah, a bit of a mishap with that Showstopper going too deep, but because of all that chaos, they just completely lost track of Foxy9, who was able to creep right behind Rubble. Now, down to a 3v4, still doable in terms of numbers, but Gen G, they'll wait, and then they have their pickings. They could still go for a late push onto that C site. They could still group onto A. They wonder, whenever you give them a chance, RQ, they've always overextended and overheated. They'll wait for that chance, and they start to move at the 40-second mark.
Slowly moving. You do have Estrella right around the door, though, so if he does hear something and times it just right, might be able to clip someone on the way back.
This should be a sheer wall and then Razorvine activated, and Estrella might open the door for a spray down, because at 20 seconds, they all have to try to jump over. They're actually just going to use the Razorvine, so they can't actually speed through it. It's going to buy so much time.
Estrella
Only one gets through!
And not the spike!
The spike's not through!
Throw it over, throw it over! There it is!
Tossed over, should get planted. Monyet trying to spray down, doesn't find the hit. Estrella will draw out a lot of attention, finds one target, he gets taken down, and that is the retake opportunity denied by Gen.G.
Oh, it came dicey, but Gen.G just brings it across the finishing line just in time. Had the setup for the back of that play as well.
Yeah, great timing with the Razor Vine, but now Cred's starting to get a bit iffy as we get prepped for that last round. So Xfero, I mean, you can buy for each other, but the chances just aren't there. Yeoman still doesn't have that Nightfall, so you just say, you know what, we won't greed for this. Xfero will back out all the way to the other corner of the map. Going up to 4 rounds for Gen.G. If they can make it 5-7, I think if you're a Gen.G fan, you have full faith on their defensive setups on this map.
Pretty much. Oh, Yeoman.
Yeoman wants it. He wants that Nightfall.
Okay, we're good.
Wanted that ult, but he won't get it. Obviously, you have your pick of ult orbs from that attacking side.
Still, though, as you go into the last round of the first half, I mean, right now, just thinking about that same A setup, because Gen.G has been able to break that apart from RRQ. You know, Cushy dies really early on because of that.
I was wondering if there would be a hard push out of C from RRQ, given that their trading and their positions has been read so hard on Rubble. But this time they go even harder in. It's a 4-man push out, trying to push them into C site where they have double Razor Vines and the Arc Bros ready to go. Paint Shells should clear out all of it. They're well tripped. Texture all alone, he gets shut down. That's a bit of a full send on the fake. And now everyone trapped. Paranoia comes out. He's been caught. Munchkin spike dropped behind Rubble. Monyet holding strong.
Goes up for another peek, though. Oh, and he's working against 2 players on either side, so unfortunately he falls. And that's a spike retrieve. Look at Karen, already deep into A. Does Estrella expect it?
He has to just hold, because they know that From the Shadows was used. You have to wait. There's the Nightfall. Estrella will just stand outside of it. Now the one-way draw, but that buys time for Xfero to group up safely. Now a 2-1 split between the RRQ members. Meanwhile, Gen.G, it's going to be a hold on drop and one safely from Tree.
All right, buy some of that attention away, allow for Estrella to get a little bit closer in and find some possible sight lines, but look at how Karen's just continuing to try to hold that off. Paranoia set through, Prowler from Tree as well. Now their own Prowler spots out at least 1 player, so trying to sneak on through to get that pinch. Unfortunately, Estrella's already gunned down. Foxy9 ready to receive. The Fox in a henhouse strikes again.
Again, these are the fights that Foxy9 loves. Full faith in his teammates. I'm looking over, we have Dwenmo, who is a streamer under the Gen.G banner. Of course, recently just playing on Team IM as well before they had to disband, but he's cheering right now. He's so happy to see Foxy9 really find his stride in this new team. Coming over from DRX, and even then, perhaps not really being given the chance that a lot of people hope to see. And now he says, all right, bring the fight to me. Set me up, I'll be able to collect.
So beautiful with how he does it as well. I mean, like, tiny little movements. First of all, perfect crosshair placement, and then slicing the pie ever so slightly outwards as opponents kind of swing into him, thinking that he's holding passively with that strict angle. So just being able to end that first half 7-5, not too bad for Gen.G. You can definitely bet that their defense will pick things up as well, especially with the entire double controller setup that they have. RQ though, I mean, how do you work against that? You've been playing against it for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, we started to see teams at internationals, namely by the name of Sentinels, break down Gen.G's defensive setups, right? And especially when it's the Killjoy. Now we've seen all the different combinations alongside the Poison Cloud and the Toxic Screen. So you still have a raise. You're still able to delete all of this. You don't have to take as many risks as if it was a sheer wall with that Vice. So RQ should have some ideas, but the real question is, what's the timing there? And also, do you want to invest the paint shells? Because you don't want to do it every time, because then you can't fight Rubble. So it's going to be a very careful choice of macro, and right now, it's going to be Rubble for the Pistolist. Gen.G, they're going to go for a classic push out of Mount.
Okay, that would give them a lot of information too, but we'll see how RQ responds quickly enough or not. Foxy9 is already prepared for that A hit.
Yeah, I mean, RQ, not wise to it just yet.
Oh, that's interesting.
They don't have anyone watching.
Foxy9 door tapped and instantly went back into A, so just does buy a bit more time for RRQ, thinking that there could be a player up around the other sides.
Lots of time bought. It's also double sheriffs for Karen and Foxy9. Paranoia at the ready, but they decide, okay, we're already through.
Okay.
We're not going to have to use it. So Paranoia still saved up in that post plant. Good patience from RQ, but look at Gen G still 3 members flanking around. I mean, you might expect 1 or 2, but Estrella, does he expect this many?
Well, it's all up to him. Oh, he doesn't see
hasn't
him by the
been
jump.
He hasn't been checked. They still suspect it. It's too late. He catches sight of 2 crossing over. 1 now tapping the door.
Going out through Xfero. There's the Paranoia as well. But, oh, just a little bit too far exposed up towards the stairs area. And that's where Gen G strikes. Karen Texture able to get 1 for their own. Jemkin kind of fighting back a little bit, but just not quite enough off with the Poison Cloud as well. Gen G picks up the round and now looking to equalize the score.
Yeah, that should bring them up to 7 in theory. It's a good wraparound and just noticed a bit too late. And then the util, really well placed by Gen G. RQ always on the back foot with some of their answers. Clean shots, Paranoias pushing them away, back and forth, and Cushy not able to, I mean, the angles just weren't really perfectly placed for RQ here when they had a little bit of time to hold on. Oh, that's what I was hearing. I was wondering who was cheering, but what is going on? Karon.
Let's go.
You know, he's no longer the youngest on the team. He starts to roar, really show his true colors here on Gen G. Roaring like a tiger indeed.
Heck yeah, that just got me fired up.
See if that energy continues here in the anti-eco. 5-man buy. 4 rifles, 1 Spectre. Karon not able to land the shot just yet, but he'll play it safe. He has support from Blue Room.
Still relatively reserved, so being able to control a lot of it as well. On the other side with Munchkin, that's going to be the Spectre to take down at least 1 player with a lucky spam.
Yeah, seemed like an overly aggressive jump peek. Obviously, still can be used against things like the Killjoy, try to spot whoever. And I like that you do it at least on the eco, right? Try to get information on what the setup is. That's fine, but obviously not completely necessary just yet, given that it's not a Vice. Either way, he gets taken down. Gen G, no reason to shift. Texture will, in fact, push towards Rebel, and this should be a pretty safe hold with the default.
And down to the minute mark, just spotting a lot of this out now. Still, though, RQ kind of able to bypass a little bit of it with the blast pack, but then the toxic screen comes up, so if they do walk through it, a little bit lower as well, while Yeoman holds off with the side. Okay, not quite connecting just yet, but Karen able to find a slight sliver on towards Cushy. Texture swings out now, and that's the triple kill to end the round in a flawless fashion for Gen G.
Texture's only 1 away from the showstopper. That's the real big deal right now for Gen G. Yes, it's a flawless, that matters a lot. You're able to carry over all your weapons, that's huge. But 1 away from the showstopper, that could be what really helps you turn the bonus around for yourselves.
Such a big power ultimate, for sure. So that's definitely one thing to keep your eyes on the books for the next round. Happy Texture is a happy Gen G.
Now let's see if he's able to collect that last point. They are going to push towards Smoke and then the C's as well. It's perfect. Manya lands right on top of it. And that is the showstopper. That's the kill on the controller. Showstopper online. Gen G already looking so happy. You've got that defensive setup once again on the C site.
Look at Texture's positioning as well. I mean, such a good spot to be in if he starts to hear more footsteps. Prowler to check tree, and no one's really found, so this calls to Karen to get ready for a potential turnaround. And in for Texture as well, the Boombot just to check.
Paranoia as well, this is a setup.
Okay.
The moment they hear any sort of util, or maybe even this door being broken, does the showstopper come out? It's perfect! Only gets 1 kill, but Karen collects the other, and it's just an absolute trap play. RRQ nowhere to go on their bye round. And I gotta imagine a timeout coming out here, because we've seen this time and time again. You don't hit that C site early enough from Gen G, you don't force them to switch up that defensive default, and then they just start to run away in the second half.
It's just full on wreckage from Gen G with Texture performing like this.
30 seconds left.
So you definitely need some kind of a timeout to find some solution, but at least for now, with a bit of a slight save, Estrella will be able to find Texture down.
Yeah, you have to save these rifles, because now you're going to be straggling behind. 7 to 8, 1 round, but of course the econ not in your favor.
10 seconds
So you
left.
got to imagine, we got to accept the 7-9 2-round differential. how do we climb back from there? Estrella, they're coming for him.
No. Okay.
Nice little hide.
Just out from the reaches of that hunt, but still, still thinking about it. Definitely need to find a solution to that early pressure that's always being repeatedly thrown in, or to find a way to deal with that C setup that Gen G has.
Yo, we just haven't even explored it. Texture getting caught off guard a little bit on that kill from Estrella, but there's that timeout. And listen, fighting for Rubble, always a highlight of Lotus, sure, but you have to be able to push and pull. You have to tell Gen G that you are going to work the entire map, because otherwise they'll just wait, they'll counter you at Rubble, and then they'll keep you trapped. There's just no pressure on the other side of the map.
So you need to assert yourself somehow. But with that early paint shells and possible movement play in towards Rubble, it's certainly not the easiest thing.
So I can imagine two things, but I feel that this next round, you still try to go for a variation on the Rubble fight. See if Gen G still goes for the C's combo with the paint shells and see what you can work out, because either way, it's going to be a haphazard fight. It depends if they're forcing up or not, but you do have 2 rifles, so that's another decision they'll have to make. But maybe the next round you start to work out that C site, because going right away for some hard pressure onto C would be disastrous after a timeout. So indeed, it is going to be just a rematch over by the A side, and they're buying up.
All light shields.
You got to get ahead. The blast packs have to put Jemkin ahead of Rubble, but look at the pings. They're already pinging for it.
Okay, oh, it's the Arc Rose and the TP, but Gen G actually holds on to their utility for now.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Monyet far forward as well. So both sides kind of having the read on each other, right? They recognize, okay, you're not going to do the full util dump. We aren't either.
Yeah, hold on to it for now. Trading Prowlers. Nothing spotted too far off. Well, Xpharaoh slowly starts to begin his creep up on the lurk.
Yeah, this could be a pinch onto B, but Gen G trying to get ahead of it. And Texture goes out, gets Jemkin, and Monyet right into the crosshairs of Texture. It's going to be a 3K. Does he go for the classic 4K? He's on for it. I mean, no reason to move from C site. They'll just delay.
We would joke about it, right, with his kill streaks and whatnot, but I mean, this is a big advantage for Gen G. Paint shells refresh and everything. You know, it's another round that just as soon as it starts off, it's 2 players only left on RQ again.
Yeah, you have to save again, right? Because you forced up.
Ay.
Otherwise, the economy really starts to crumble. And Texture, yeah, he smells it. It's in the making.
He's got the nades.
We all know how this ends. We all know exactly how this ends. Oh, yo, man, don't spoil us just yet. Let Texture have the suspense.
We can't skip to the last page of the book.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll give him a chance. All right, Texture, he's right nearby.
10 seconds
Can
left.
he get
Throw it.
ever elusive ace?
Come on, Texture.
Texture gets 4.
Spike
Can he
down.
get it? Xpharaoh does it. He denies it. Some things never change.
Oh, Texture, you will continue to live down that curse.
I mean, this was all set up for him, too.
Low HP. You got wall banged at the last second. I mean, like, low HP. God.
I mean, Texture, this is your destiny, man. Listen, I suggest that he now just tries to go for world's most 4Ks. How in the world? Why always does this happen? Oh, man. Well, you feel for him. So, yeah, now there's the pressure onto that C site, something they haven't done yet. But Gen G, I mean, listen, you've got a world-class IGL. You're not going to fall for this. You know that the timeout, okay, they go for a variation on Rubble. You're still waiting. The late setup, once they hear that noise, coming out onto that C site.
And Texture is 2 points away from his ult, so that's another thing. But right now, great IGL. Just continuing to hold on the other side.
Look at the setup for Foxy9 as well. Munchkin kind of drawing their attention all the way to the back of elbow. But it was Foxy9 holding close. Now, the firepower not quite there for RRQ. A nice attempt at a swing out from Estrella, but he won't quite find the kill for a gun upgrade.
Prowler check pillars as well, so enough information for Gen G to kind of back up and reinforce both extremities of the map.
But the important thing here is that RRQ is trying to use the entire map. They are trying to force Gen G to lack information. The bigger problem being that you just haven't tripped any of Killjoy's util. So there's really no reason to switch up the positions. You can still stack A, you still have the turret on B, just to check for information.
That's really risky. So at least trying to buy a bit of presence back into A, but then the quick rotation into B, so maybe finding an open site through this, but they still lose a couple players in the process. A bit of a trade one-on-one. Texture.
Sure, he finds one. And he gets the second. He does. Site empty so far. He's going to push them out. He jumps right into the hands of Jemkin. That's a rifle. Oh, it's a little far out. Drops behind him. DPU's already going through. All the way back. Gets one kill. Opens it up for Estrella. There's a gun upgrade. 1v1. Foxy9 versus Jemkin, but time on Jemkin's side. Health on Foxy9's. He baits him in. Jemkin jiggles back and forth once more, and Foxy9 holds his ground. He will not lose a duel today.
So ready to receive and hold. Time and time again, he just makes it happen. Cannot lose it whenever he's holding the angle. This time around was a bit of elevation that saved his life, but still being able to be so cool and calm and taking that burst down against Jemkin.
You have to imagine how he even started as a duelist. I mean, he's just fit for a Sentinel. Let them come to me, I win those duels no matter what. I mean, less pressure. He looks so much calmer when he's in these duels when they have to re-peek him.
Oh, look at him.
Tester's saying, yeah, you just have to win for us. Yeah, there you go. Bring us around.
Well, 10-7 is looking a lot better, but it is a buy up now for RRQ. Texture does have the showstopper at hand as well, and look at him right outside of C.
Yeah, that showstopper again. It's another trap play. No Killjoy setup this time. The moment they hear util, it's going to be Munchkin, Snakebite spraying through the smoke. Showstopper comes out.
Karen and Yeoman right around the door as well.
Oh, the full trap play. Jemkin gets one, but the showstopper pushes everybody back. RRQ frantically trying to rotate to the other side. Gen G, they're closing in. Texture's on the hunt. Monyet brought down very low. Kushi already has control of Rubble, but now the Nano Swarms. The Killjoy setup, why is it on A side? RRQ, they can't look for the answers. They have to push through.
They have to. I mean, it's a good mid-round call trying to make it happen, but working against Foxy9, who is holding again. The second kill now out, and on towards the top is Munchkin as well, but Foxy9 manages to do it all by himself. Not the last one, though, Xfero. Able to strike back, goes for the desperate plant to maybe get onto the steel garden, but not quite enough as Gen G already have the site surrounded.
Well, if last year's Gen G with Meteor was all about pushing out for the right timings by Meteor, this time it's all about letting them come to Foxy9, because they are just not able to break through this guy when he's waiting on the site.
None whatsoever. Everything set up outside of C. Perfect util with the reads and the showstopper and the kills from Texture as well, just to funnel them in towards Foxy9.
I mean, waiting out the paranoia, just understanding that he has space at the back of sight. Confidence coming back up as well, starting to look a bit more relaxed. There is that second time out from RRQ, not wanting to let it get to map point. The nightmares of the past starting to loom over them. They've been here so many times before.
Without a doubt, especially on this side. Not quite able to really find an answer or a solution against Gen G's defenses, but still a little bit of credit. I mean, being able to bring this score across so far, not too bad on the attacking side, I mean on the defensive side for RRQ. So they can not feel too bad right now.
You know, we got some Foxy9 fans. That's his full Korean name. Oh. Taesung Jung, or Chung Taesung in Korean. So a lot of the, because especially in their comms, they're all calling first names. A lot of the fans just call Foxy9 by his name, Taesongi. That's what they'll call him affectionately. And right now, he's starting to deliver. 15-11. Texture, meanwhile, 19-12. Lockdown available for Foxy9. RRQ, they've got a couple outs as well. Nightfall and Steel Garden. But haven't really found an opportunity to use them just yet. Half armors across the board.
Well, now's as good a time as any.
All right, just creeping forward. It's going to be an all-in. Just break the Killjoy util, push him back, and take that space. There are the Nano Swarms, so Jemkin going to be all alone, but Magnet follows through with the Shrouded Step. Jemkin spots him. The trade's not quite there, a double peek. But after all these previous runs, I don't know if you keep pushing him. Foxy9 still holding strong in the back of sight.
Yeah, respecting him. He's got that lockdown as well, but now peeks out. A couple of kills already going through in favor of Gen.G, and there is that lockdown. Despite the Steel Garden used by xffero, no opportunity found. Texture will take the advantage out, and now getting a little bit more space for his team.